Good afternoon. I'm Agriculture Commissioner Steve Troxler, and I'm here today to once again highlight one of the divisions in the Department of Agriculture. When hurricanes strike, disasters like tornadoes, ice storms, whenever this happens, quite frequently, agriculture is the most impacted industry involved in the disaster, and there's a reason for it. We farm outside, we have infrastructure outside, so we work to help people get back on their feet and recover from these disasters, and the Emergency Programs Division is the division in the department that spearheads that, so I'm here to talk about them today. Today I'm here at the Emergency Operations Center at the Department of Agriculture building in downtown Raleigh, and during an emergency situation, this is where our emergency programs teams gather to coordinate and plan and implement a response to no matter what type of disaster that we have in North Carolina. And we also plan ahead of time to keep people in agriculture safe during any disaster that occurs. From this room, our staff can communicate with people all over the state of North Carolina within the department and other agencies, and we're actually part of the Viper network in North Carolina, so no matter what, whether the power's off, what emergency is, we can communicate, and I quite frankly have used this to communicate from helicopters when I'm doing assessments during an emergency, so being part of that is a really good thing. We can communicate not only with other agencies but with law enforcement all across the state to coordinate what we're doing in a response. This is a program that is small in size but has huge responsibilities in what they do for agriculture and agribusiness in North Carolina. We've got 14 full-time employees across the state, and they include veterinarians, agricultural EP specialists, GIS programming experts, and the administrative support that it takes to pull all of this off. Some of these employees work here in Raleigh, but we do have employees spread across the state to provide veterinary and emergency response in a hurry. Even when there's not an active emergency going on, the EP staff trains and trains and trains. They hold seminars and make sure they're prepared for when a crisis strikes. Besides emergencies that are naturally occurring, such as ice storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, our EP staff also trains on a lot of different things that can affect North Carolina, including foreign animal diseases, nuclear radiation releases, agritourism, and even food safety recalls. The EP staff coordinates with other divisions within the department, and the good thing is they are experts at incident command, and this is a way to set up a standardized hierarchy that coordinates responses between not only our divisions but other agencies. And we use incident command not only for the situations that you normally think of, such as hurricanes, but even sometimes in big food recalls, we set up incident command to be able to have that hierarchy that we need to be able to respond quickly and efficiently to these types of emergencies. We also work closely with North Carolina Emergency Management in times that they need help with agricultural emergencies, and that could be a vehicle accident involving the transport of animals, food emergencies, food safety recalls, feed, or sometimes even pesticides. So it's a wide-ranging duty that they have, and they do it very, very well. The response from our EP team depends on the type of emergency that we're dealing with. And quite frequently, they have come from the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the flooding events that we've seen after tropical storms. So it encompasses a lot of things. So sometimes we have to make sure that animals get feed that they need. I've seen the instances where we have transported generators, transported diesel fuel to farms for emergency generation of power. So whatever the emergency, we stand ready to do it. And unfortunately, we've had a lot of practice with these types of storms. And One of the major things that probably a lot of people hadn't thought about, but when we have a major flooding event, quite frequently we have the loss of life of our animal industry in North Carolina. And how we respond to that makes a huge difference, not only economically, but environmentally. So I want to bring in my Director of Emergency Programs, John Howard, and I want to talk to him a little bit about some of the things that they have done during responding, especially after hurricanes. John, talk about some of the things that EP has led in the state of North Carolina after these floods and how we've handled animal mortality.
Sure. Well, as you know, Commissioner, during Hurricane Florence, we had quite the disaster involving farms across eastern North Carolina and involving hundreds of poultry facilities. Most were impacted by flooding, a few by loss of power. In those cases where those animals succumbed to flooding, we had to come in and clean those houses and try to dispose of those animals in an environmentally friendly way.
You folks figured it out and had the expertise to do it, and I was trying to remember how many tractor trailer loads of wood chips and carbon material we brought into North Carolina. I know it was astronomical.
It was a large number. Over the course of about 35 days, we managed to move 1,620 tractor trailer loads of carbon material, represented about 140,000 cubic yards of material to not only help dry up the flooded barns, but to also use as compost material. So it was quite a large effort, but working together, we were able to organize that event. We had a lot of people working on that, and we're quick and efficient.
You know, it's amazing to me that you do the in-house composting or even composting outside, and within about 30 days, all of the animal remains are gone and compost remains, and the farmers can actually spread this on their field with no fear of disease or any environmental problems. So I thank you and all the members of EP and all the people in the department that work to perfect this composting that you've done, and I know with our track record it won't be the last time.
Well, I hope not, but I hope that we don't have another one. But we're happy to help, and I'm glad that we had a good, positive outcome in that event.
Thank you and all the members of EP for what you do.
Thank you too, sir.
Keeping animals safe during emergencies is one of EP's top priorities, and the division does this through the Veterinary Response Corps. And this is a program that trains particularly veterinarians and care professionals to improve the response to emergencies affecting companion animals and livestock. And if you think about what we've seen during emergencies, I think probably it started with Katrina. People do not want to leave home without their animals, and I'm one that would be exactly the same way. So how we handle these companion animals and how we care for these animals is certainly a big task, but one that we work with a lot of people on, and there are about 58 volunteers that might help with companion animal responses. And they primarily consist of veterinarians and vet techs, and they have to have specialized training in emergency response. It's much different when you get into the field and there's water everywhere, the wind's blowing, and you've got to be careful. So we help to train these veterinarians and vet techs on how to handle emergency response, and it's something that we are very, very proud of here in North Carolina, and especially in the Department of Agriculture. Outside of all the things we talked about response and helping people, helping animals, there are a lot of things that emergency programs does that you might not really think about, but they are tasked with issuing permits to animal contact exhibits at sanctioned agricultural fairs. And if you think back a few years, we've had problems at the state fair with an outbreak of E. coli, so that pretty much changed the fair world. So now we do inspections to make sure that everything is actually as safe as it can be. In 2019, the division did 18 permits, but they also inspected over 30 agricultural fairs in North Carolina to keep the patrons safe that go to the fair. One of the big things that they do during the Mountain State Fair and the State Fair is they provide support, daily support, keeping their eyes and ears open, helping people with pointers on how to keep things safer. Right now, much to my dismay, these events are on hold, but they're still going to be out there helping with patron safety when we do return to having fairs again.